This video is brought to you by Patterson Car Care. Get double of premium original detail product for half the price. Head over to pattersoncarcare.com or go to the link in the description below. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are in another Z. I actually did a 700 wheel horsepower 370Z, and now we're going to the older brother. Today is a 350Z with carbon fiber doors, fenders, and over fenders in the rear as well. The thing about this one is that this makes 540 wheel horsepower out of the VQ35, which is a 3.5 liter, and this also has a very similar turbo setup. This is where the turbo is mounted down low. You cannot see it. So you could pop the hood and not know it was boosted. It's just one of those cars where it sits so low that you could literally tell somebody it was an intake and a tune and exhaust and they would believe you. Sway bars on it, epoxy coilovers, and it sits very nice, and it has graham lights with Bridgestone potenzas. So we have the right tire, the right wheel setup, the right suspension setup. It just makes it a lot more comforting to drive a Z when it's all prepped all the way around. A lot of people will take the 350Z because it's such a popular platform now, because it's kind of turning into the new 240SX, to the point that these are becoming cheap missile cars for drifting. But when you do see a Z set up for something other than drifting, it's pretty neat, it's pretty cool. He also has a really tasteful wing on the back. He has chrome taillights, which feel like they're from the early 2000s and Need for Speed Underground. Take it as you will. To me, it's almost like a time capsule because the Z was of that era. It came out, I believe, in 2003. So it was right when Fast and Furious everything. Oh yeah, did I also mention we have rainbow headlights on this thing? So when you're driving around listening to your Eurobeat, it's absolutely perfect. But you can basically take a key fob and you can change the color of the headlights. But we have pillar pods right here telling me everything I need to know, air fuel ratio, oil pressure, everything, because when you're dealing with a boosted V6 like this, you're gonna need to know all that information. We are dealing with E85, which helps make the 540 wheel horsepower. And so far, it seems like it seems to be responding really well. And the Hotchkiss sway bars have really stiffened up this car. The last 350Z I drove was years ago, and it was a twin turbocharged 350 with the generic disco potatoes, the GT28s. This is on a whole different scale. This is a comp turbo that's a 6467, so it's much bigger. The power band's gonna be different. Compared to the twin turbos, it's much more like an NA setup with more power because they're small. There's not much lag. This has lag. It has the dramatic sounds and the blow-off noises. light rear end, I thought it was gonna come around a little bit more on me. God, top of fourth, I'm just out of room. I have no room. Okay, like I said yesterday, the VQs have a completely different sound when you put a turbo on them. When you do a turbo setup, it deepens it, it makes it a little bit meaner sounding. VQs that shit aspirated, not so much. That's all she wrote. Holy smokes. With this red color and this contrasted freaking carbon, it's like Lord of the Underworld. This is such a unique sound because you get the turbo coming in, and then when you let off, you get the perfect purge noise. And those crackles, that's new. That did not happen in the 370. And we hooked right up. We didn't spin at all. Okay. Oh man. Okay, this is way more aggressive sounding. Good Lord. So, what I'm finding about this one is that yesterday I said the 370 I could actually do a mountain road in. Not as well as this one. This one with the 200 horsepower less, that's all it took. Now it's much more of a mountain car. I can use the power way more often, and I can ease into throttle around corners much easier. The 370, I had to be much more careful. Third gear, just barely in it, feels like an NAZ, and then... Dude, this thing rips. I am so happy right now. We are using the stock CD009 transmission, and these things are actually able to handle a ton of power, actually more than the motor itself. The VQs, especially the 35s, they're kind of finicky. Sometimes you get one that'll last forever, another one will just magically not work anymore. Brake feel though, it's not as direct as the Z yesterday was. It has just that little tiny zone where nothing happens, and then boom, you stop. So thankfully that's there, but other than that, yeah, it's pretty wild, because when you get up to speed in this thing, it just keeps going. It just goes on and on and on, and every time I think I'm at redline, I'm still not there yet. I totally am starting to understand why people boost these, because the twin turbo kit I mentioned earlier is $8,000, and I never thought it was worth it, because people would only make like, you know, high 300s or 400s sometimes with that kit. I was like, why would you do that? Go buy a different platform. You'll make 400 way faster. But with this is the sweet spot. 540 in this, more than enough. To give you perspective, look how light these doors are. It's nothing, it's a featherweight. So here we are, barely going into power, just to get you the sound. Sounds better than an R35. Another thing, side note, it's not that important, but this is the era where Nissan did a lot of parts binning, and this steering wheel you'll also find in the Pathfinder. I know that's just a little fun fact, but it's funny, you'll get in another Nissan car or an SUV like the Pathfinder, and you're like, wait a minute, Isn't that the same really elongated 3-spoke steering wheel as the Z? And yep, it's the same one. I did not think this thing was gonna be as balanced as it is. I thought it was gonna be a hot mess. But I'm being proven wrong right now. This thing feels really nimble and easy to control, but it's also a car that can get away from you if you don't have the experience. Y'all are gonna call me crazy, but this is kind of what my S13 feels like, but in a modern, more modern chassis, a 10-year newer chassis. The way the power comes on, because my car makes right over 500, this makes right over 500. Mine's a tin can. This is a little less of a tin can, and the interior is nicer. What do you guys think about a boosted 350Z? Do you think they're overrated? Do you think that the 350 should be cherished or just turn into missile cars? To me, it's kind of in the middle. I kind of want their prices to kind of stay where they are, because this car was a $42,000 car when it came out, but at the same time, it's a very good entry-level rear-wheel drive car. Put your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're interested, I have a detail brand called Patterson Car Care. It is double the premium detail product for half the price with an original formula, so if you're interested, check it out in the description below. And I just opened a private Discord server, so if you're into that too, go in the description as well. On that note, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Turbo noise. See you guys.